Wakes up
Guys,
after a
welcome
car
back to
crash and
another
sees
video
his
on the
mother
channel.
beside him. He
Today,
attempts to reach out but finds himself stuck. With effort, he pulls on his mom, but finds her eyes wide open and her face is bloodied. With his dead mother beside him, the boy is stuck and helpless in the middle of nowhere. Years later, a woman's screams pierce through the darkness, waking Jordan. She shuffles in the dark, scared and uncertain about what's happening. With shaky hands, Jordan orients herself, all while the pleas for help continue. After overcoming her initial shock, Jordan reassures the other woman that she's there, even though they can't see each other. The woman replies that she found a man whom she thinks is dead. Despite panicking, Jordan feels around in the dark and tells the woman to keep talking so she can find her. Jordan follows her voice until she feels something, scaring her. A man's voice breaks through the shadows. The man's name is Grant, and he asks her who she is while Jordan demands that he stay back. Sensing her panic, Grant assures her that he's also a victim. He recalls being at home before suddenly finding himself there. After calming down, Jordan goes back to searching for the other woman. The two eventually find Anna, who has an unconscious and bloodied man beside her. Jordan checks the man and confirms that he's alive. Grant tries to call out into the darkness but hears no response, so he gets up to find a way out. While he's away to check an opening, Anna shakily whispers to Jordan that she doesn't trust Grant. Jordan then attempts to follow after Grant, but Anna is still scared that he's the one who abducted them. They hear a cry and Grant tells them that he's found someone. Anna worries that he's trying to separate them, so Jordan clutches a rock and readies it against Grant. When she tries to attack him, Grant realizes that they think he brought them down there. Acknowledging that they don't have a reason to trust him, Grant still begs them to, adding that he doesn't know what's happening either. A bloody hand suddenly touches Anna's shoulder, making her scream. Quickly, Grant defends the woman and holds down the man, who turns out to be the unconscious man from earlier, Luke. As everyone panics, Grant asks everyone to calm down and focus. When they agree, he releases Luke. Grant continues that if they turn on each other, they won't find a way out, so he asks everyone to keep calm. Grant brings up that he found someone else in the room, so a guy named Alex walks in, looking distraught and shaken. Jordan asks Luke why his nose is broken, so he says that he woke up while someone was dragging him to a van. He tried fighting for life but was beaten. Grant asks him if he saw their captor's face, but he didn't because it was in the middle of the night. Jordan asks Luke what else he remembers, and he mockingly replies that the captor told him about his secret hopes and dreams. Focusing back on escaping, Grant suggests splitting up and finding an exit. Luke challenges his authority, but with no other alternative, everyone follows his lead. In another room, their captor watches them through surveillance cameras and documents their progress. As if it's a science experiment, he notes their behaviors, adding that they're still optimistic about making it out alive. On their second day, Anna shouts, desperately hoping to get out as they're still stuck in the darkness. Suddenly, the captor turns the lights on, and the captives see each other for the first time. Grant observes their surroundings and sees a brick wall that he thinks might be their way out. He also notes that the light fixture is embedded in the rock above them. A series of beeps catch their attention, and they see a clock that goes backward like a timer. As they explore their prison, they find a passageway that leads to a wooden door. Luke bangs on it and demands to be let out. A sound comes from beyond the door and it opens. They find themselves in a deep well with a high ceiling covered with wooden planks. In front of them are 4 barrels containing water that could last them 2 months. They also find rolls of tissue and a makeshift toilet. Luke screams and tries to climb while Anna and Alex fear that their captor will kill them. Jordan tries to stay optimistic and says that their loved ones will be searching for them. Frustrated, Luke snags the light bulb, bringing a lengthy cable down. He then washes his face straight from the barrel, but Grant warns him not to contaminate the water. Still, Luke taunts him by attempting to spit into the water, so Grant pins him on the wall. Jordan steps in, begging that they need that water as they don't know how long they'll be stuck there. Finally, Luke calms down while Alex wonders why their captor left them with so much water. On their third day, Grant attempts to carve a way out through the brick wall, saying that if he can just get one brick out, it'd be easier to remove the rest. He's sure of this as he's been a contractor for 20 years. Hearing this, Jordan wonders why they were selected. She asks about the others' lives, so Alex mentions that he's a divorced accountant while Grant is widowed. Jordan concludes that neither of them has families living close by and probably not a lot of friends. She asks Luke about his life, but he gets defensive. He thinks it's a waste of time trying to figure out their captor's motivations. What matters is what he's planning what to do next. Still, Jordan insists that there's a pattern, so Anna opens up about suffering from her ex-boyfriend until she killed him in self-defense. This gives Grant an idea about the pattern. He confesses that his wife had cancer and begged to die, so he helped her. He was convicted of murder and spent 2 years in prison. Jordan then asks who Luke killed, and he admits to robbing a store. However, the clerk stole the gun from him, leading to him accidentally killing her. Alex says that he hasn't killed anyone and demands to be let out because he thinks the captor made a mistake. Unknown to them, the captor has him labeled as the control subject. Alex yelling to be let out irritates Luke, so he punches him. On the 4th day, while Alex is drinking water, he spots a scalpel with an accompanying message that the human body can last beyond a month without food. Jordan realizes that they're being pushed to the limits of human hunger until they decide to eat each other. Being a doctor, she hesitantly points out that the scalpel is designed to cut skin tissue and muscle, hence the idea. Bothered by this, the others ponder why their captor would force them to do such a thing. Grant takes the scalpel to make sure that doesn't happen, but Luke fights him over it. Grant then strangles Luke, telling him he's done playing nice with him. Suddenly, they hear music playing outside the well. Above them are 2 lovers sharing an intimate moment, but they stop upon hearing the victim scream for help. The lovers trace the screams to the well, but before they can help, they are tranquilized. The 5 continue screaming, not knowing that the lovers have been bound to their car seats and are pushed to a nearby lake by the captor. As the captor watches their car sink into the water, he recalls the car accident when he was younger. With their chance of escaping gone, the 5 are left demoralized and frustrated. On their 5th day, Anna feels colder as her blood sugar levels drop. At Anna's insistence, Jordan tells her that there are 3 stages until they reach death by starvation. They will first use up their stored fat and calories, then start burning muscles. They will eventually weaken and get dizzy until their body begins shutting down. As they near the end, their bodies will do anything for sustenance. As the captor monitors them, he recalls rescue finding him weeks after the car accident. However, when the rescuers found his mother, part of her arm had been eaten. As they carried away the boy, his eyes were blank with the shock of what he had to do to survive. On day 17, Grant is still helplessly crawling at the brick wall until he manages to remove one of the bricks. With Luke's help, they tear through the rest, only to find the bones of their captor's previous victims inside instead of an exit. Grant grows demotivated, but Jordan tries to keep their dying morale up. She reassures Grant that they will find another way to beat their captor at his game. Jordan sees that one of the corpses had a water bottle and concludes that they were the last survivor. Grant coughs and reveals that he's suffering from arrhythmia, and he'll die if he can't take his medicine. Unknown to them, Alex was eavesdropping. On their 20th day, Alex resorts to cultivating his 2 remaining cockroaches. Hungry, Luke snatches one up and eats it, drawing Alex's ire. Seeing the futility of it all, Alex also decides to eat his last cockroach. Meanwhile, Jordan opens up to Grant and says that she misses the sunlight because she'd been more active at night. Grant replies that his now estranged daughters were afraid of the dark, so he used to tell them a poem to soothe their fears. He wishes he had enough time with them, and Jordan reassures him that he will. In the well, Luke fixes their lighting and wounds his hands while trying to crawl up the wall. Anna comes to him and says that Alex told her something important. Later, Luke crawls up to Grant and snatches the scalpel while he's asleep. He then turns the lights out and attacks Jordan and Grant. Luke reasons that Grant is dying anyway, so they should use his body for survival. However, Alex knocks Luke out just as he's about to strike Grant. Jordan then poses the scalpel over the unconscious Luke's neck, but Grant manages to dissuade her from killing him. Her unwillingness surprises their captor. On the 22nd day, Grant is visibly much weaker. Jordan crouches near to him to hear his heart, and he jokes that he's been wondering when she'll make her move. Luke demands to be untied, but Jordan says that he has lost that privilege since he attacked them. The power struggle intensifies as Luke directs Anna and Alex to untie him, but Jordan demands that he'll stay bound until they escape. Luke says they won't escape until the timer hits 0, by then they might already be dead. Jordan counters that giving in would give their captor what he wants. Still, he argues that they have better odds of survival if they sacrifice one of them. Besides, Luke says that Grant is as good as dead. As Luke runs amok, Jordan puts the knife close to his throat and says that she's protecting them all. Luke taunts her to slit his throat and she threatens him, saying how his death will be slow and painful if she slits his throat the right way. She then walks to the well to calm herself, only to realize that she can lock herself inside. The next day, Grant looks even worse. Luke argues that since Grant is dying, they should just kill him so they can eat. This makes Anna look at Grant with interest. Grant agrees that he's dying, but Jordan tells him that they still have a promise to keep, to see the sunlight. Luke asks Jordan to strike Grant down, and when she turns, she finds Grant not moving. Thankfully, he wakes up, still holding on. When they rest again, Anna leaves them with a sinister look. On the 24th day, Alex sneaks up on Jordan and knocks her out. When she wakes, she sees Alex and Anna ganging up on Grant. He fends them off at first, but in his weakened state, they eventually subdue him. Grant meets Jordan's eyes one last time before being pulled into his doom. Jordan weeps as the two beat Grant with the bones of the previous victims, spreading blood. After bringing him down, Alex and Anna give in to their primal instincts. Taking the knife, they feast on Grant. Jordan stays down, shocked and grieving. Satisfied with the events, their captor notes that Phase 1 is complete. On day 25, Jordan is tied and bound while the rest continue to feast on Grant. Luke looms over her and taunts her about Grant's death, and she responds by calling them monsters. Luke slaps her, stressing that whatever she calls them, they're only doing what they can to survive. Still, Jordan tells him that he will die down there. Luke attempts to kill her, but Anna tells him not to. While the three are busy eating like savages later, Jordan finally notices the captor's security camera. By the 27th day, Anna approaches Jordan and offers her water. Jordan attempts to convince Anna to let her go, stressing that the men are just controlling her and will kill her too. However, Anna reveals that she's the one who convinced Luke and Alex to attack Jordan and Grant. She tells Jordan that she's the one in control and will decide who lives and who dies. Later, while Anna and Luke are getting intimate, Alex watches them with an inexplicable look. On their 28th day, Anna and Luke appear to have regained most of their strength while Jordan remains bound. However, Alex is displaying signs of insanity as he becomes philosophical about the human flesh and how it must be eaten fresh so that it remains pure. Luke tells Alex that they can still feast on Jordan, but Alex thinks Jordan's essence is weak because she's dying. He then stares at Anna, so she calls Luke to intervene. Luke pushes Alex away, telling him to hold on for just a few more days. Still, when Luke approaches Jordan, Alex stares at Anna in an animalistic way until he attacks her. He bites Anna's arm, forcing Luke to stab him. This leads to Alex bleeding out. On the 29th day, Jordan finally unties herself. She approaches the sleeping Luke and Anna and takes the scalpel. Her movements wake them and she runs to the well to hide. Luke manages to grab her, but she slices at him with the scalpel, allowing her to escape. Inside the well, she desperately locks the door behind her just in time. This surprises the captor, who expected Jordan to kill the two. On the 30th day, Luke and Anna watch as the timer turns to 0, indicating that they've passed a whole month in captivity. They celebrate in hysteria, thinking they'll be set free because they did what their captor wanted them to do. Unfortunately, another day passes. 31 days after they were captured, Anna approaches the door and tells Jordan that her actions were driven by a need for survival. She asks Jordan to let her in because she fears for her life, considering that Luke is much stronger than her. Jordan asks Anna if she's alone and she says yes. However, Jordan looks under the door and sees someone behind her. Knowing they're trying to trick her, she bids Anna goodbye. At their wits' end by the 33rd day, Luke grows irritated with Anna as she watches him eating on Alex's body. Angry that she won't back down, Luke strangles her. With Anna dead in his hands, Jordan takes Luke by surprise and strikes him with the knife. She is now the sole survivor of the original 5. She looks straight at the camera and claims that she knows what the captor wants. She taunts him, saying he wants her to eat human flesh to be set free, but she says she would never give in. Instead, she calls him weak. Jordan takes a bone and says she's done playing his game before destroying the light to cover herself in darkness. In the dark, Jordan takes one of the barrel's lids and writes something on it with blood, away from the captor's camera. Then she crawls to the corner and lies there motionless. Days pass and Jordan remains in her position, annoying her captor with her unwillingness to eat human flesh. He recalls the night he cut through his mother's coat and sliced a piece of her flesh to survive. By the 36th day, curiosity forces the captor to descend into the well. In the darkness, he sees the bodies and finds Jordan still in the same position. Believing her to be dead, he inspects the lid and reads that Jordan wrote, "See you soon, sunlight." Just then, Jordan lunges and impales him with a bone. Surprised, he stares at her, unable to voice a coherent thought. Jordan claims victory, leaving him to leave his final moments in the dark. Weak and disoriented, Jordan walks to the well and sees the rope ladder the captor used. She sees the sun washing her prison with light, giving her visions of a little girl playing on a sunny day. Despite her ordeal, Jordan climbs out, reciting the poem that Grant had taught her. Finally, she emerges from the well and basks in the sunlight, relieved that the nightmare is now over.